Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Macro Lunch podcast. I am your co-host Rachel with your host Chris. Today we will be talking a little bit about why should or shouldn't you compete, pros and cons, a little bit of an intro to bodybuilding in New Zealand, different federations, and some of the progressions that you can go to within those federations as well. So, what do you think is probably the best part of competing, Chris? What's the best pro of why you could compete?
I'm just still hung up that I got promoted to host. This is cool. I was thinking, and my co-host, but she's like, no, and my host. I was like, sweet promotion, top billing. This is right. Age
So,
before
see,
beauty.
do you know what though? If I say you're the host, it means that you have full liability.
No, that's production.
Oh, okay, okay. I was thinking, yeah, if I screw anything up, I'm just the co-host, and I can just say blame Chris. But then you can also say I'm just the host, blame
Like
producer.
exactly. We'll put their email address on the bottom of the screen here for all complaints to be forwarded to. Uh, anyway, sorry. What was your question? It was about bodybuilding as to. Sorry, I was momentarily
What do you think
distracted
the
by my phone.
best part of why you should compete would be? Like, what is the best thing about competing that could encourage someone to compete?
I personally think it's the best part of competing is the personal journey to better yourself, not just physically. I'm not going to sit there and get into all this deep, meaningful psychological stuff behind it because there are people that are more educated and informed, far more intelligent, and way better looking than I am that can discuss that subject matter. But I think that the exploring how to get yourself to a point where you can see an achievable result through something as I guess as archaic as lifting something heavy.
That's definitely the addictive part of bodybuilding. I don't know. Yeah, most people I find, and same with me, like that's the addictive part is looking back on your progress and thinking, wow, like look at what I did.
Hmm.
Um, and that's, I think, a lot of the reason that people come back. So a lot of people will do a show just to see if they like it. And then I think people come back because they get hooked on that feeling of the progress.
Yeah.
Um, and also, like, there's something satisfying about working for something. Again, there's a lot of psychology behind that, but I
Hmm.
think it really gives you a sense of achievement when you've had to suffer a little bit to get to where you are. If you just
Yeah.
get given something, it doesn't give you the same sense of accomplishment. But because of the amount of work that you have to put into bodybuilding, I think
Mm.
it really, when you get on stage, you're like, wow, I actually did that. Like all that
Yeah.
work got me here.
And I think that applies to, like every sport, right? There's the genetically gifted, the ones where it is a little bit easier for them to,
We
to
hate those people.
excel in something. But yeah, but at the end of the day, hard work will beat raw talent. There are some people out there that are just freaks. They got the X factor. They've got the wide shoulders, the narrow waist, the
Natalia.
yeah, yeah. No offense, but yep, Natalia. The amount of mail I get on that one it's quite funny.
I'm
Um,
sorry, she needs to
but
be your.
yeah, yeah, that should be. Where are you from? Brazil? No. Um, but from female and males, it's like there is that one that can gain muscle they can look at a steak and they you drop a meal for Wada Hardy and you shred it as. Oh, can we swear on this thing? I'm not sure. We'll find out. Um, but it's a leveling field. Yeah, sure, some people are going to have to work harder. Some people are going to have to put in more cardio. Some people are going to have to cut more calories. Um, some people don't have the structure, like the physical structure, but it's a real good leveling field because you can see the grafters, the grinders, and they can beat those ones that are just genetic freaks or that are just raw talent because you will only succeed in the sport if you put in the work. You can only get so far by being just genetically blessed. Um, you know, there are people out there that have done really well because they are just like they have that perfect structure, but they don't go any further.
I think that's actually one of the upsides with bodybuilding is because you can outwork a bad, like not a bad structure, but a non-ideal structure. You can
Yeah.
outwork it. You can build around it to make your, I guess, to increase your strengths and make your weaknesses stronger. So you can work around those things, which is one of the perks of bodybuilding. Whereas in an actual sport, like not an actual sport, sorry. Oh my God.
All complaints are that way.
I'm going to blame the fiance for this one because he jokes
No.
about that all the time.
Yeah, but he does triple jump. That's not a sport. That's a coordination effort.
Yeah, fair. But it's not, I mean, something like triple jump. Let's use that as an example. You like if you have like for me, for example, I have really bad knees. There's no outworking that. So yeah, in bodybuilding, you can outwork some of those things that you struggle with. It's very, you can work around those things and still succeed really well. Whereas, and also there's not as much impact as some things like triple jump, for example. I look at them doing it, I'm like, how have you not broken yourself? Which usually
Mm,
they have. Um, so
yeah.
you don't get as many big injuries, unless you're a bit dumb in your how you're lifting and then you pop something, but
Hey,
preventable.
we've all done something stupid, like tear our right pec clean off.
I haven't.
I'll plead the fifth. But I think that's the thing about bodybuilding, like particularly, I think in the women's class, the female classes, like bikini, for example, like in traditional. I hate to say it, bodybuilding, because I'll get every other person that lifts weights. I think I'm a bodybuilder, but in the more like when you say bodybuilding, you're generally thinking like open men's class, right? Like
Front double bicep is
yeah,
usually the thought.
just protein, good. Um, if you have a lagging structure or a lagging part, that's the thing about bodybuilding. You, for example, if you're not blessed with wide shoulders, narrow waist, bigger delts,
Yes.
brings it in classes, particularly like bikini, and I think bikini and swimsuit and fitness model, all those that if you like the more streamlined women's classes, I think they're actually harder from a bodybuilding perspective because you can't rectify those structural issues by adding size. Like
This is true.
if you are straight up and down and you don't have a waist and you don't have wider hips and you don't have wider shoulders, well, you can't. If you build bigger quads to make your waist look smaller, well, you're not bikini. You've now moved into wellness. If you have a narrow shoulder structure and you add bigger delts, well, you're not bikini. You've moved into figure. And if you don't want to be that category, it's kind of tough. But the cool thing is, there's classes for everybody. If you want to be, and all of those female classes, I think personally, the fit models, the bikini, the swimsuit, I think they're more challenging from a success perspective than your traditional bodybuilding because you're more finesse than you are grunt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's definitely more like artistic in a way. You have to nail every single 1% of your presentation, not just the actual physique, but also the presentation, how you pose. I do think posing can play a big part in how you showcase. So
Yep.
if you do not have the I guess the best structure for that category, you can pose differently to help
Yep.
that. But yeah, definitely it's a lot more yeah, of those like extras, not just the physique. It's have you got the right bikini? Have you got the right cut? Have you got your hair? Even
Mhm.
if it's curly and you're a very small person like myself, it can make you look smaller because your hair is very big and then you're
Mhm.
very small. If your hair is straight and then you're too big, it's going to make you look bigger. So
Yeah.
things like that. It's all those illusions that come into play. I think with some of those like we'll
Yeah.
call it the less muscular categories.
And I think, as you said about posing, you're starting to see more posing suited for the individual. I mean, look, I hate to burst people's bubbles, but in bikini, particularly in the IFBB, there is no bikini posing routine. There never has been. There never will be. You've got two freaking poses, front and back.
2.5.
Yeah, okay, in a transition.
Transition.
But that time when you come on stage and you are, it sounds horrible, but you are presenting yourself to the judging panel, those poses are when you show yourself in the best light. You hide your weaknesses, you show your strengths. Now, the poses that the judges call for, being front and back, now, there isn't a lot of leeway. You know, it is what it is. But it's those, how do you, and Rachel, you're the queen at doing this. It's like you come in and do your front pose, and it's just like your front pose in the more traditional ICN style and your front pose in the IFBB style. You know, you just pop it, and it really speaks to your structure. And you can tell when girls are comfortable doing that because, you know, they are showing themselves in the best light. You know, but posing is now getting more individual. But and even in the men's physique, again, there is no posing routine in men's physique, guys. You can take all the frickin' time you want, but I'm telling you, the judges are only looking at your front and back.
Same
Anyway,
here. Same
back on
goes for
subject.
me. Anyway, back on subject. Pros and cons.
Pros and cons of not being a podcast host on bodybuilding. Don't get your ass killed. Anyway, move on.
Well, so yeah, pros definitely. So as we said, like, yeah, that psychological, like, you get the rush being on stage. For the girls, we get to get glammed up, which
Yeah,
is super fun. But another reason I'm so mad about the fit model situation with the no crystals in the suit, it makes me very angry because you don't quite get the same amount of glam. It's very upsetting for me as a bikini maker. But yeah, no, you get that glam, you get the tan on, and it's a real experience being on stage. You get a real high from it, and
yeah,
it feels amazing being able to showcase all your whole work, all your hard work.
yeah.
Um,
But you said earlier about, you know, some people do it. It's a bucket list thing, right? They get on stage, they do it. It's like it's their chance to get in the best shape of their life. Yep, I've done it. Never do it again. I mean, it's terrifying standing on stage under those
yes,
bright lights in front of a couple of hundred people and going, woohoo. And it takes, you got to have, for lack of a better term, you got to have the balls to do it. And it's freaking terrifying. I mean,
it is. So I
that,
still get scared going on stage. I always say this to my first timer clients who come to me for bikinis. I still get scared. I get the deer in the headlights feeling as soon as I see everyone in the audience. I presented a award the other week at Talpo show for ICN. That was terrifying, even just presenting an award. I wasn't
mm.
even being judged.
Yeah,
So yeah,
but it's, as I said, some people it's a bucket list thing. It's like
yes, definitely.
you
I
do it
actually,
one and done, and other people you get on stage and it's you get bitten by the smell of the spray tan, the
oh, the
glamour of
smell.
the bejeweling, you know, the baby oil glistening. Actually, don't use baby oil, people. It ruins your tan. Don't do that. But you know, you get bitten by that whole experience, and that's when you know you become what I call a serial competitor. Um, Not just competing one time a year, but like some people who remain nameless, 6, 7 times in a year.
Oh, I don't know who that could
Yeah,
be.
moving on. Um, but it's, yeah, I mean, bodybuilding is that it's you versus you. The only person at the end of the day that you're really going to beat is yourself because you can't control what the judges decide. You can't control what everybody else did. There was a few years back, I won't name her because you know I don't really need her coach coming down on me like a ton of bricks. Um, there was a masters competitor in bikini who, to this day, I still think has probably got one of the best structures around. And for whatever reason, at a particular national show, it just wasn't her day. The judges just overlooked her. She went from winning, and I think she won the overall in one show, and then come nationals, she was all the way on the outside. Very hard thing to take going from, if you like, being the top of the pile to in the pile. But again, that's the thing about the sport is the only thing you can do is be better than you were last time.
Definitely. I think that kind of comes into some of the cons as well. So, like, because people, I think, often will take bodybuilding very personally. and I think we mentioned this a little bit earlier. You can't take it personally. It's not a personal thing. If the judges do not favor you on that day, it doesn't say anything about how hard you worked.
Yep.
It's not personal. It is literally them comparing you to who else is on stage.
Yep.
Even if you might have potentially, if you didn't agree with the judge's decision, that's still not personal.
No.
It's what are they seeing on stage? It's like when you're on stage, you're no longer like a personality. I mean, you have your stage personality, but it's like judging a piece of like a picture in a museum. It's
Yeah.
not. It has nothing to do with who you are as a person, and I think people will find it very difficult to separate that from that the personal aspect of it.
Yeah. And that's when I was judging. I never followed any athletes on social media. They would follow me, I wouldn't follow them back, and then I'd run into the gym. They go, "Why don't you follow me back?" And I was like, "Because the only thing I want to know is what you look like when you walk on stage. I don't want my opinion to be muddied by a well lit photo that I saw the night before." Or something taken in a posing room, which has got just the right light, which makes you look jacked, and then you show up on stage, and I'm like, I also don't want anybody going, "Oh, but that person knows Chris." It's like, when I
Yeah.
started judging, when I retired from judging and then started coaching and then started refollowing athletes, the number of messages I got back was, "So now you want to follow me?" I'm like,
Well, you didn't follow me.
True. You would scared shitless when I called you.
Not wrong. um but yeah, no, definitely. I think coming back onto topic, it
Good
can
luck.
come into the cons, just that personal aspect of it, because people will get very down after a
Yeah,
show if they don't place well, because they think that it's because they didn't work hard enough.
yeah,
Not necessarily. You can put in much more effort and still not beat another person.
yeah.
So
And
it
you
has
could have
nothing to do
done
with what you did.
no, and you could have competed in the past, got feedback from the judges, which, by the way, ask for the damn feedback, guys. You'd be surprised. Most people don't. Um, but you've got your feedback, right? And they apply the feedback. They've done everything they were told to do, and they nail it. Conditioning's on point. They've made all the adjustments. Da, 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 da. Show up on stage. You may still come third. You may not increase your placing. You may actually go down in placing. It's not personal. It's just comes down to what
It's
the
just
judges
sport.
see on the day. Yeah, it's just, and to go back to what you said in the previous episode. It's just math. They just place you, and then the scores get added up, and that's where you lie. So yeah, don't take it personally. But competing is that opportunity for you to compete against yourself. It shouldn't be about the color of the medal that you get. It shouldn't be about the pro card or the division that you win, because not everybody can win a pro card. Um, it's just about being. Yeah, I mean, we all want to win, right? We all want to be better than the next guy and or the next girl, and we all want to be top of the food chain. But other than the only thing you can control is what you stick in your mouth and what you lift up. The rest of it is not in your control. Um, just be the best that you can on the day.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's definitely it's a tough sport. Um, it is a tough sport. Like obviously we've said all the amazing things. Like you get that great feeling of like being on stage, but it is still a very difficult sport. And because obviously they're judging you as your physique and what you look like, a lot of people usually are self-conscious about that. I'm very lucky coming from a competitive swimming background where I was walking around in a bikini since I'm 10 years old. So it wasn't really too much of an issue for me, but most people will feel they feel quite subconscious
Mm,
having their body on display. So it can play on those insecurities quite a lot.
yeah,
Which I think people need to be aware of. But I do always encourage, like you said, like not everyone will win. Because I know it's a common trend now to train for multiple years for a bodybuilding show before you step on stage with the goal to come in and win,
yeah,
basically. I actually don't like that approach. I'm not a fan of it because I think that you should know if you like the sport or not first.
yeah.
I'm a fan, like my personal opinion, like you can people can disagree with this, but my personal opinion is that if you decide to do a show, yes, you train up for it, maybe for a year or so. Um, but then you get on stage to see if you like it. You don't have to be ready to win or ready to get your pro card before you step on stage. You
No.
don't have to be 100% there. I personally think you shouldn't waste multiple years of training and like working towards a goal, not knowing if you're actually even going to like competing.
Well, that's when you talk about bodybuilding, you've got bodybuilding and then you've got competitive bodybuilding. If you use resistance training to change the way that your physique looks, you're a bodybuilder. Not everybody is going to be a competitive bodybuilder. Now, you can train as much as you like and never get on stage.
Yes, you do
But
not
it
have to
does,
get on stage.
no, you don't have to get on stage. But don't walk around saying, I could beat her. Like, well, go on a diet and see what happens.
You know, there's definitely also the one where people will be in the gym for a while and then they'll think that the next step from there is to compete.
Yeah,
You don't have to.
no.
You don't have to have a next step. I mean, if you want, or you could always do like I don't know, a CrossFit competition or something if you want something
Do
competitive.
a do a photo shoot.
Or a
That's
photo
for
shoot,
you.
yes. It does
That's
not
for you.
have to be a bodybuilding competition. There is other things that you can do because, like we said, so bodybuilding is amazing, but it's also very tough, and it can really bring out some of those, I guess, like, what are they called? Like eating disorder kind of tendencies. So even for me, my first show, I actually started binge eating towards the end of my prep.
Mm.
Um, and I have never had an issue with food before in my life. So that was really crazy for me that I literally had never had an issue with body image and I had never had an issue with eating because I was a
Mm.
swimmer. I could eat whatever the hell I wanted. It didn't, nothing happened.
It's all right. It's all
And
right, guys. You can say what you're thinking under your breath because I'm thinking the same thing. It's
hey, I
fine.
was doing 20 hours of cardio a week. Thank you very much. I deserve
Oh, this
things.
is why you refuse to do cardio now. It's all becoming clear to me now. Right.
I did it
Okay.
for 10 years. Anyway, so I'd never had an issue with any of that before, but then towards the end of my prep, I remember like just like demolishing. Like I had these muffins that were there from my like my I think it was my regional shrine. I just demolished them, and then like literally I was like, wait, where did they go? Like I didn't even realize. Like, I think I had two or three of them, and I was like, holy shit! Like I literally didn't even realize what I'd done, I was like, okay, that's bad. Um, so I talked to my coach about it, and I really struggled post show. I kind of became quite obsessive with making sure I was really on track with my reverse diet, um, which, yeah, again, for me had never been a problem before. So even for someone who hasn't had problems in the past, you can start to get those problems
Yep.
if you don't go about it the correct way.
Yep.
I don't have any issues now because yeah, we've worked through it. But I think the main thing is identifying it. As soon as that happened, I talked to my coach and I said, "Look, this has happened. Um, what do I do? You need to communicate that. If you do not communicate and you're like, oh well, I'm just going to pretend it never happened, that's where things get bad."
We know. We can see. Suddenly, there's not so many messages. The numbers don't quite add up on the check in sheet. There's no check in pictures. What did you eat? That's how it goes. But anyway, as you said, look, it's a great sport. And the other thing is, you've got options
Yes.
in New Zealand. Now, full disclosure, guys, because I need to say this, because otherwise I'm going to get in trouble. I am dyed in the wool, cut me, I will bleed IFBB. That is me. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't need some of the other federations coming down on me in a ton of bricks, which I'm sure I will get. I also am a fan of the sport, so I support the other federations. But I will always direct my clients towards the IFBB because that's just the type of level and that's my background, and loyalty means a lot to me. That being said, my co host,
I am now competing with ICN, so I have no plans to compete in IFBB at the moment. We can go over a little bit more about the different federations, which we will do next episode as well. But ICN is a natural federation, and I am a natural athlete. So, and I also struggle to put on muscle. So for me, the look of the IFBB has gone a little bit, well, a lot beyond what I would
yep,
ever be able to achieve naturally, even at an amateur level. So yeah, am now with the ICN, and I have my ICN pro qualify Khan and have competed in a pro show, which is quite exciting.
Mhm.
But yeah, so there is different federations. For me, I've never understood the war between the federations. I've never understood why you can't
Look,
just compete in all.
having been an official for longer than you've been alive, um, God, that's terrible. Uh, I can tell you they don't care. We don't have the time to follow what you do.
It's the
You know,
stigma. Like if you compete with, like,
yeah,
say the
but
IFBB, and then you go to compete with ICN, and everyone's like, "Oh,
yeah,
well,
but
what are you
that's
doing?" Like
but the thing
it's
is,
I've never understood it.
but that's not the officials. I can
No,
guarantee
no.
you the officials from the IFBB, and probably I can't speak for the ICN. Um, they don't know. It's
It's like the
the
other athletes. It's
it's
just
it's
yeah.
the other athletes and it's the competitors and the other coaches. That's the drama. Now, if you can distance yourself from the drama and just have fun doing what you're doing, pick a federation that talks to you. Of course, pick IFBB because we're the best. Just get that one in so I don't get in trouble.
Okay, okay. No, I
But
think pick the federation that suits the look you want.
yeah, there's
And
there's
same with your
different
division.
classes. There's different divisions. Find the one that speaks to you. It's kind of like, last year I had so many bikini girls when I started coaching. They were saying, we're talking about their training and stuff, and they hadn't trained legs in 2 years. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, because my legs get too big. And I'm like, well, then let your legs get big and do wellness. Why did you start lifting? Well, because I like lifting. So you're telling me that in order to compete, the only thing you can do is cardio, because if you lift, you won't fit the class. They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, your coach is a moron.
Yeah, do the
Yeah.
category that suits both your body and what you want to look like.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And
would love to do wellness in the IFB. Oh my god, like what's her name? Eduarda. Oh, she is a goddess, and Issa. Oh, but sadly, that is never going to happen for my lanky
yeah,
bitch ass.
I don't think that's on the cards. No.
No, so yeah, you also have to be realistic with it.
Yeah. And you do. I mean, that's the thing is like, but the thing is, you can grow and you can evolve. I think a good example is looking at bikini in the IFBB. Now, they've introduced a new fit model class, which initially both Rachel and I struggled with. We didn't like it.
I still
Rachel
don't
still
like the
doesn't,
suits.
she still doesn't like the suits, which I also understand. Um,
Not biased at all.
Yeah, but no, I personally, I don't like the suits either. I mean, I don't have a problem with them being sort of standard, but I mean, again, it's part of the whole pageantry. You should be allowed to show off a little bit. But that's just my personal opinion. Doesn't reflect that of the IFBB or as any of its affiliates. That's the legal shit said.
Just we like
Um,
sparkles.
yeah, we like sparkles. But if you look at the fit model, bikini has got bigger and more
Yes.
muscular and more defined. Personally, I like that. I think it's still a bodybuilding sport. I think they should look like Marvel characters, like Amazon type thing. I've always leaned towards the more leaner, more harder look. But the fit model is for those girls that don't want that. But if you train, and you training over time, they use Ashley Kay as the cover
The
model for
goat.
this is what she used to look like, and they say this is what she should, this is what fit model be. It's like, so she's like, bitch, I've been training for 10 years to look like this, and you say I got to stay looking like that. But that's progression. When you train, you shouldn't have to necessarily restrain yourself. So if training means you go into a different class, then go to the class that you should be in. If you're blessed to have quads like Jasmine from New Zealand, Jasmine Lawrence. No, hang on, she's not married yet. I'll get myself in trouble. Jasmine,
DJL
thank you.
coaching.
DJL coaching. See, I called out another coach. Great job. That woman is blessed. I mean, she has got. I remember the first day we saw her walking into it was an Iron Horse gym in Waikato, and we were walking, but she wasn't even competing. First time I've ever seen both Mo and I stop and go, "What the?" If you are that way, go that way. Don't not train, because the reason you went to a
Mm.
gym is because you like the challenge of lifting stuff. You didn't go to the gym because what you want to do is stair climber and you wanted to starve. So find the class that you like, find the class that speaks to you as an individual, find the division, the federation, and have fun with it. Bodybuilding is still
Have
supposed to be
fun.
fun.
Yes, especially on show day. You should be relaxed on show day and having a good time.
Yeah, relax. There's nothing more you can do. I mean, you can't do more cardio backstage. You go, I'm going to get leaner. It's like, nope, don't worry about it. Have fun, enjoy it. I mean, especially in the girls categories, you ladies look amazing. The swims, the bikinis are stunning. You know, everything about it is there. Enjoy it. You've done all the hard work. Show the world what you've done.
Yes, you need to, separate yourself from the placings, separate yourself from that, and just think, I've done an amazing job. But
Yep,
definitely, I think, people who restrict themselves into categories that they don't fit in, often that's where they start getting the bodybuilding destroyed my life kind of mentality. Either that or they didn't have a good coach. That's another
yep,
very important thing with bodybuilding. You get a lot more cons if you don't have a good coach.
yep.
Go talk to Chris.
Not that we're biased at all,
I am not
but
biased at all.
use this discount code. No, we don't have one.
No,
Yeah,
but this.
lovingly made by the producer. But anyway, so yeah, look, put in the work, enjoy the work, have fun in the process. If it becomes too life consuming and
Yes,
overruling of your life, if it affects your relationship, if it's affecting your bank balance, if you're not ready to
it
do
will
this as a
affect your
competitive sport,
bank
yeah,
balance.
this is an expensive sport. We'll talk about that in a
But
later
you should
episode.
not be going into debt. You
Yeah,
should you should not be completely broke. Like if you cannot afford to compete, don't do
don't
it.
do it. And
It's a
if
hobby.
your relationship can't handle it, don't do it. Because I can tell you're going to get a $3 medal or a $3 plastic trophy. If your sanity is worth $3, I got a deal for you. I can sell you some oceanfront property in Arizona. Anyway, we have waffled enough. In our next episode, we are going to talk a little bit about the federation. So there's a high chance I'm going to get my ass in trouble. So if you want to watch that, come back and listen next time on all your favorite. I have no idea how this shit goes because I don't do all the technical stuff. So I'm sure it'll be on something.
Streaming
Um,
avenues.
yeah. So, and yeah. So thank you for listening. And we'll see you next
Next
week.
time.
All right.